It's a rematch of one of the best games in the USL regular season thus far. From Taft Stadium in Oklahoma City, welcome to United Soccer League action. OKC Energy, 10th in the Western Conference, taking on San Antonio FC. Hello, everybody. Glad to have you with us. These teams last met on ESPNU. It was a fantastic game with George DeMatteis, Mike Watts. We're glad to have the rematch. And when you think about San Antonio, you think about their defense, you think about a former member of the OKC Energy, Cyprian Hedrick, will get the start tonight.
Yeah, it must be nerve-wracking for Cyprian Hedrick getting the start against his former club. 74 games, helped them to a couple of playoff berths as well. It was a key component in the defense for OKC the last 2 seasons he was there, and now he's a massive component, providing some depth for arguably the best defense in the USL now in San Antonio.
By goals allowed, they are the best defense in the USL, so Jose Angulo is going to have to play a pretty big role if they're going to get one past them.
Yeah, Jose Angulo, one of the best finishers in the USL. He will have to take his chances when they come. There might not be too many, but he is the kind of player that with 1 or 2 chances can turn a game around. He's been the attacking spark, the offensive spark that OKC has needed since the trade of Danny Koenig. And even before Koenig was traded, he was struggling. So Angulo has picked up that slack and has performed very well.
4 goals for Angulo. Here's the starting lineup for San Antonio. Their second loss of the season was last week.
Yep, and they've made 5 changes from the side that lost at Reno, including Omar Gordon in for Victor Araujo, and there's Hedrick at the right back position. Sean Chin is in for Chris Tirpak. Cesar Elizondo, a player that you like, Mike, a great creative player. He's going to be important. He's in for Rafa Castillo, and the captain, Michael Reed, has come in for Ojon. So look for that group, this group here, to attack, go after OKC, and we'll see how they perform, how that cohesion comes together.
5 total changes on that side for Jimmy Nielsen. No panic after their most recent loss.
Yeah, no need to. This is probably their best 11 with Fink and Andrews in the middle. Obviously, Lorendi is the captain. You got the Dixon boys on the right side. Wallace is a player with pace on the left side, and Gonzalez can drop back, give Angulo that space as the center forward, and be that creative link with Barril. So Barril and Gonzalez, if those two pair up very well, they could give San Antonio's defense a lot of problems.
If you're Jimmy Nielsen, why would you panic? Oklahoma City lost to Tulsa 6 games ago. They were unbeaten until they lost to the Roughnecks again. So when they welcome San Antonio, they hope for a better result than last time. Rematch coming up next.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
Your banking needs are personal, none more so than your personal checking. FFB has a checking solution for you. Like FFB's Debit Card Rewards, which earns you points with every debit card purchase. Points for travel, hotels, restaurants, or merchandise from your favorite stores. And as always, you'll enjoy FFB checking perks like mobile deposit, online bill pay, and free ATMs worldwide. That's a lot of punch packed into a little plastic. Visit ffb.com/rewards for more today.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
Taft Stadium in Oklahoma City. Welcome back to United Soccer League regular season action. It's OKC Energy set to take on San Antonio FC. Planes flying over historic Taft Stadium in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Look to the sky.
As for OKC, a win could move them that much closer to playoff position. For San Antonio, they're in a battle for that second seed right now, sitting just behind Swope Park. There's Darren Powell and Jimmy Nielsen, the head man and the longest tenured head coach in the Western Conference for Oklahoma City Energy. Jimmy Nielsen not making any changes going into this game, and you have to respect that. He knows what buttons to push with this team. He's hoping that he pushed the right one again here tonight.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how the team responds after that loss in the Black Gold Derby to Tulsa. So we'll see how that plays out over the next 90 minutes. But it's a testament to how well he knows his team. This is a man who also understands the psychology of managing a team with players as well. He said, all right, fellas, you lost a rivalry game last week. We're giving you a chance again to prove what you can do against one of the best teams in the USL, easily a playoff team in San Antonio. So this is a test, a psychological test, and a show of confidence for his squad as well. You got to like the mentality of Jimmy Nielsen and the players. You figure with that coaching and with that support, they're going to respond.
A big smile from the White Puma. And Kyle Highland hugging it out there, set to begin this action in mere moments. Jimmy Nielsen leading this team to playoff wins in each of the last 3 seasons. He's the only coach that can make that claim in the Western Conference. As the teams wander onto the field, when you look at San Antonio, the results of late not as stunning as they were in the early going. They started out 14 unbeaten, and since then, a lot of draws and a couple of losses. Maybe there's a chink in the armor there?
Yeah, it could be. The main problem that San Antonio has is that they have a fantastic defense. You know, you mentioned it, the best defense in the league, but they don't consistently score enough goals. They've got to get that balance between being a defensive side, maybe a conservative side if you want to look at it like that, and getting risky, taking risks, pushing men forward, and finishing and scoring more goals. That's ultimately what's going to get them to that next level. They're trailing Real Monarchs by double digits in the Western Conference, and part of it is the fact that they haven't been able to keep up in terms of scoring goals. The defense, when you have a defense like that, it's good to get draws. You always can count on at least 1 point. But to get 3 points and to take that championship step, you need a team that can consistently score goals.
Billy Forbes places the ball down. He scored the lone goal for San Antonio against Oklahoma City Energy in the previous meeting, one in which Miguel Gonzalez scored late in stoppage time to come away with a draw in a game that was nationally televised on ESPNU. And speaking of Jimmy Nielsen, the game plan for the most part, keep them away from what he deems the best counterattack in the league, worked except for the one time where it didn't. And that's the thing about San Antonio. They're 7th among the 8 playoff teams in goals scored right now, but they can get to you so quickly. And here we go, underway from Taft Stadium in Oklahoma City. San Antonio on the road, trying to avenge their second loss of the season last time out.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how OKC, how they keep themselves structured defensively. You mentioned San Antonio likes to play the counters. If you play the counter, you're not going to score a lot of goals because you don't have enough possession to generate chances. That said, Oklahoma City with Miguel Gonzalez, they can hold the ball. And with the changes that San Antonio has made, they're hoping especially Cesar Elizondo and Sean Chin can hold the ball up as well. So whoever has the most possession in this game is most likely to win it. We'll see if it actually plays out that way.
Chin's 4th start of the year is daily wise to the task. Off the head of Angulo. Bounds back to Diego Restrepo. One time was the 3rd string keeper for the team, but has taken the job and not looked back due to the early injury to the starter, and then Lee Johnston getting injured as well.
And right now, early minutes here, you could see Oklahoma City, they're just playing back. They're not pressing. Look at how far out Restrepo is here as he sends this ball up the park. They're going to make sure that they don't concede any spaces in the back. Counter-attacking team, they want you to play high. They want you to draw and come out high so that they can use their speed.
Trying to use the speed here. It's a shove from Forbes. And Lorendi makes sure that doesn't get into the net. He is in offside position for San Antonio. 4 players missing tonight. Rafa Castillo suffered an upper body injury against Reno, won't play tonight. No further update from Preston Petrie and the staff in San Antonio, but Matt Cardoni and Devin Vega both out with injuries as well. Ben Noonan out due to yellow card accumulation tonight. It's a big reason why we'll see Cyprian Hedrick in that starting role.
Well, one thing's for sure with Noonan, he's a player that at that right back position, he can push up and attack. He's a little bit better in terms of the attack than Hedrick. So Hedrick is just going to play back there. So with that, look for Cochran to move up and Hedrick stay back. We'll see how that works out. The left back pushing up, the right back staying home.
McCarthy. Forbes trying to hold off Sam Fink. Lines it back to Sebastian Ibiaga, who legitimately could be considered a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's really been, along with McCarthy, fantastic for this defense of San Antonio that's allowed a league low 13 goals this year.
Well, you need, in order to have a strong defense, you need cohesion, you need good communication, and that develops with time. And with those two playing together for a good period of time, they have a good understanding in terms of man marking and set piece situations, and that's been one of the main factors for them being a strong team defensively. Good center back pairings go a long way in forming a strong defense.
Gordon, the Jamaican, trying to spring Forbes. Forbes offside again. Ibiaga, it should be noted, played in Oklahoma City last year for Rayo.
And what we're seeing early on here is OKC just wanting to make sure they don't give up the counters, so they're willing to give San Antonio a little bit of the possession. This is very early, given a little bit of the possession. You know, in San Antonio, they want to run out, they want to use their speed. They've had a hard time controlling possession and building a cohesive attack going forward when they have the ball.
Gordon trying to get forward. Andrews took it back from Cesar Elizondo. Gonzalez. Wallace. Chance here for Dixon to get forward. And left it a bit behind Alex Dixon. And Wallace recovers for Oklahoma City.
Look for the counter on the counterattacks when San Antonio wants to counter. We're seeing Highland and Dixon push up on those wings, obviously, to provide width. And Mickey Daly is dropping back, trying to keep that back line.
Angulo into the waiting midst of Restrepo. Got down to make the stop. First opportunity really for either side comes just shy of 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah, early on here, Oklahoma City, they want to prevent the counter, so what Mickey Daly is doing is basically filling in whatever gaps Wallace and Highland leave when they push forward in the attack. And if there's a quick turnover, he has to be aware of what the space opens up and then drop back and fill that space. So Fink, Andrews, and Daly, how they work together, especially Daly in the midfield dropping back, is going to be key to neutralizing San Antonio's counterattacking and the pace that they want to provide or get into space with pace when they get a quick turnover in the midfield.
Throw for Richard Dixon. Shove at the back of Angulo, who was checking back to receive the ball.
Angulo wants to work hard, get touches. You always want your center forward to get touches, even if it's 15, 20 meters outside the penalty area. He's showing that hard work to get involved in the play and try to generate goal-scoring opportunities with some touches in the midfield. He just needs some players out wide to run, or some players like Barril in the middle to make runs as well and provide a target.
Barril on the restart. Shot that well over everybody. Hey fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the league is on USL Coast to Coast. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sirius XM FC Channel 85. And don't forget, XMFC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. But president of the new franchise in Birmingham, entering the league in 2019, will join the show tomorrow night.
Yeah, Birmingham, Alabama, very underrated soccer town.
Thank you.
Yes, very underrated. A lot of times the U.S. national team has gone out to play, and they've had great crowds, so it's good to see them. There's been talk about not enough professional soccer teams in the southeastern part of the United States. So to get one in Birmingham, that's a big accomplishment.
Of course, Vegas into the league now, along with Fresno in the Western Conference. So adding that, and another local rival for OKC, Austin Aztecs organization is going to be revived. Austin is returning to the league.
Always good to get that Texas-Oklahoma rivalry going, that border war between those two states.
You don't say. Flag is up for offside.
Is it really Red River rivalry between, I guess, between like OKC, Austin?
Yeah.
I know the Sooners and Longhorns have that, so.
Right.
Could bring it to soccer, right?
There's a cup they can create for that.
Yeah. Okay. Red River Cup. How about that? I like that.
Although this is a pretty good rivalry in its own right. Jimmy Nielsen said it's almost like when he was at Kansas City against Houston Dynamo. Said every game was tight between those two teams. It feels like this is a similar rivalry right now.
One thing that's always good for a league, regardless of what sport, what level, is rivalries. You have good rivalries that are intense. I mean, you don't want to have fights, but if every once in a while it breaks out and you can control it and it doesn't get too nasty, that can evoke some emotions as well. So anytime you get a good rivalry budding, that certainly makes the league more exciting and interesting.
I'm more of a Floyd than a McGregor, if that makes sense, when it comes to fighting.
Oh, okay. I'm more of a Bruce Lee, but we'll leave that.
Service from San Antonio, skied into the air, and Lorendi comes out to make the catch. What day does Floyd win that fight? It's coming up, right?
Well, they're both going to win because they're going to make like $90 million off of it. So,
but the ball bounces away from Elizondo. Everyone's a winner at that price tag.
I'll take an L for $90 million. Shoot, you can hit me as many times as you want for $90 million. I'll lose in the first round.
George L. Metellus.
Yes.
Hold this L.
Yeah.
Daily. With Gordon, who's making his debut for San Antonio out of Montego Bay. A couple of players from Montego Bay United joining the USL this week who played with the Jamaican national team in Gold Cup. Gordon into the fray here for San Antonio, and then we saw a couple nights ago Phoenix welcoming Kevon Lambert.
That's always good for USL and just North American football and North American soccer in general, that you can scout the Caribbean and get good Caribbean players. I think the United States, the USL and MLS, those two leagues especially, can become the hub for great Caribbean talent to come play professional, earn a good living, and then develop as football players, as soccer players as well. So for the USL to get Jamaican players into the fold is massive, and it's just the start of Caribbean has some great talent. Obviously the passion for soccer is huge in the Caribbean, and for them to have a USL or MLS to go and play professional is incredible.
Dane Kelly and Romario Williams currently tied for the Golden Boot race out of Jamaica, 15 goals apiece.
I'm telling you, once the Jamaicans stop sprinting, they're gonna be great. They're gonna be great in soccer. But I don't think they'll stop anytime soon, because even though Bolt is done, he's retired, they still have a great tradition of sprinting. But ones that can't sprint, they could play football, they could play soccer and do well.
San Antonio coming off their second loss of the season, making that addition in Gordon during the week, making his San Antonio FC debut.
Yeah, it's looking very early like OKC is going to be very content to allow San Antonio to play the ball, to have a little bit more possession. And basically, Jimmy Nielsen is telling San Antonio, okay, let's see what you can do when you have the ball. Because we know what you can do when you don't have it. Let's see what you can do when you do have it.
Ibiaga nearly picked out his target. Greg Cochran, who got forward.
You're making me exercise, Mom.
Oh. 12th minute here. Hope you're enjoying the riveting conversation with George D. Metellus, Mike Watts.
Oh, man. Yes. I will take a butt whooping for $90 million. Yes. Yeah.
Here's Ibeagha, signed by Houston in 2016. Spurned the homegrown deal initially. Went over to Europe. His brother Christian, of course, in the USL as well. Central defender for San Antonio.
Yep, nothing. Look, if you're Oklahoma City and you're seeing Ibeagha getting all the touches or the majority of touches here, that's a positive sign. It means that they haven't been able to connect with the midfield. We've seen Ibeagha go long a couple of times, and that back line of OKC has kept their shape, and there's been offsides or the pass hasn't been too well, and they've lost possession. So we're seeing Ibeagha control having most of the touches, and that's a positive sign for OKC. Now, just a matter of maybe getting a quick turnover and then bursting through. But they're not going to put too much pressure. They're not going to press San Antonio. They're just trying to make sure that they do not connect that back line with the attack, kind of make sure the midfielders don't get too many touches, and it's working so far.
Wallace and now Fink lining it long. Out of the reach of Miguel Gonzalez. Energy FC's next home match Sunday, September 10th, 5 p.m. for Military Appreciation Night. All active duty veterans and first responders earn a $5 discount by presenting their ID at the gate. Tickets are available. Call 235-KICK or visit energyfc.com. Meanwhile, the next match for San Antonio FC is Dollar Beer Night.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
So San Antonio's got a fun match coming up at Toyota next time around.
Do they take quarters, or you have to pay with the paper? By the way, just myself as an ex-United States Air Force, I want to give a shout out and much love to everybody who's going to be there. And well done, Military Appreciation Night. You got to love the men and women serving our country. And myself as former U.S. Air Force, I always got to show them some love and shout them out as well.
What was the final rank in the military for you?
Senior Airman.
Senior
E4.
Airman.
Enlisted E4, Senior Airman. George D. Metellus. And they were happy to be rid of me. No, no, it was great. I'm great. And I love the time I had in the military. It was great for me and great for my life. And everybody else as well. Military people, they sacrifice so much. So they deserve all our love. And hopefully Military Appreciation Night is a great way to show it.
You calling that game?
I would like to.
I hope so.
I could throw some military phrases in there. You know.
You're definitely doing the open in a uniform, though.
Okay.
Break out the old
I gotta break out my old
BDUs.
BDUs.
Yeah.
The old blues. Yeah. That'll be smooth.
Cochran got up the left-hand wing, isolates against Dixon. Cochran high arcing, bounds over to Chin, who cuts it back across. Forbes, nice touch, gets it back. Gordon, Forbes sends it across for Elizondo, comes down to Chin. You're going to need a senior airman to find that ball.
Yeah, that one was blasted high in the sky, aim high Air Force for sure. But right now, San Antonio with Forbes, Elizondo, Chin, that line that's in support of Omar Gordon, they've been struggling to keep possession of the ball. Barril tracking back, doing some excellent work defensively. It's been a disjointed first 15 minutes. We haven't seen anything smooth or cohesive from either side so far. There's still, I guess you can say there's a feeling out process, although at this point of the season there really isn't. It should be more about we get the ball, we're going to impose our will, impose our strategy. But it really has been kind of a sloppy, well, not kind of, it's been a sloppy kind of slow-moving first 15 minutes here at Taft Stadium. Just waiting for kind of that one strong chance, that one quick break, that one move into space to open things up a little more here.
San Antonio controls 17th minute, ball for Gordon. Fink arrived first, goes gliding into the board. And now the ball will come back. Referee in the middle tonight, Jorge Ramirez.
He hasn't had too much to do in terms of fouls or cards. It's been a, like I said, it's been a slow match. I think OKC wants to slow the tempo down and make sure that defensively they're not giving up space and they're not allowing Forbes and Chin and Omar Gordon the pace of San Antonio to get open into space and create goal-scoring opportunities.
McCarthy lines it over the top. Gordon the target. That hangs up in the air, and Lorendi's got it.
And you can see San Antonio, they're getting anxious, and so they want to play. They want to play into space. So you're seeing a lot of long balls bypassing the midfield. That works right into the favor, right into the hands, or the boots, I should say, because you can't use your hands in soccer. Right into the boots of OKC.
He nearly got that down with his boot, but Angulo, of course, was offside.
Yep.
Angulo's had a very nice start with the new club coming over from St. Louis.
And he's been that finisher that they've needed. We've seen it even going back to last year. A problem that OKC had was finishing their opportunities. They can generate the chances, but finishing them. And I think with Angulo, they found someone who can consistently finish them.
Ibiaga. You know, every coach thinks they can turn around a reclamation project, a guy who hasn't played to the level he did once. And when you first heard Jimmy Nielsen talk a bit about him, there was a feeling that Angulo, he had seen him a few years ago and knew what he was capable of. But
yeah,
no one has gotten that same level of production out of him since. Right now, Jimmy Nielsen's getting that level of production. That year with Pittsburgh, where he tied for the league lead in USL goals with Dom Dwyer, of all people.
Right.
It does seem like he's onto something here and that this system will work for him.
Well, it's, as you just said it, that's the key word. You just said it, system. That's the thing. A lot of coaches think you just, okay, he's had a couple off years, we'll bring him in, it'll work. No, you have to get him in the right system with the right combination of players who will set him up and so he can finish it. And especially finish his chances, I should say, is when you're a number 9 and you're a center forward, that's what it's all about. Getting the service, getting the space. And with this system that they play in, the Miguel Gonzalez and Alex Dixon, who are fast. Gonzalez very good with the ball at his feet, a dribbler, can hold the possession. It allows Angulo the space, and he's getting service, and he's getting service in the right positions to score. So it's not just let's bring him on. It's the system that you play and the players within that system that create opportunities for him. And that's, you got to give credit to Jimmy Nielsen. He's got Angulo in the right system with the right set of players.
Having seen Angulo the last 2+ years, this is certainly the best I've seen him play. This current 5 to 10 game stint with Energy FC came over on loan as part of a larger deal that sent Daniel Jackson to St. Louis. So far, it seems like it's paid dividends for all involved, just as the Andy Craven-Danny Kunich trade seemed to pay instant dividends for both sides. Hedrick drops down in front of Elizondo. Fink a header.
And you mentioned Daniel Jackson, another player that on the outside that has benefited from Daniel Jackson. You got it, is Anthony Wallace. Now Anthony Wallace is a player who is out wide on the left where Daniel Jackson often played. And he's getting more PT as well, a player with pace that can help out in the attack and then also drop back in the middle and defend.
Alex Dixon, a slip ball. Ibiaga kicked it away right before Miguel Gonzalez latched on.
And that's why Ibiaga is one of the best defenders in the league. But also, if that pass is just a little bit heavier, I don't want to criticize because it was a great vision. Yep. It was great vision for sure. But if the pass is a little bit heavier, Gonzalez had snuck in behind the defense, got past McCarthy. But credit to Ibiaga for reading that play and clearing it away.
Daly. Hedrick. Miguel Gonzalez kicks that out. Or rather, kicked out before Miguel Gonzalez could get there. Throw in by Highland. And that'll get out for a corner. But before we get there, hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. See, Barill's hair, feathered and lethal. He's got the Nike cleats to boot.
You always got to look pretty before you play some soccer, that's for sure.
We'll see how the service is. Barill, the native of Spain, lines it to the back post. Bit teasing, got over Angulo, and in the end, a goal kick to Restrepo.
Yeah, tried to get it that far post, curl it. Maybe going for an Olympico goal from the corner, but didn't quite work out there. And those are lost opportunities there for OKC. Remember, they haven't had much possession in this game so far, so set pieces become crucial in terms of getting a goal, and then obviously if they score, protecting the lead at home. So you can't miss those opportunities with corner kicks like that.
On the ground to Wallace and returns to Mickey Daly. Highland off of Hedrick. A couple of dribbles there to keep possession. Gordon putting on all the moves. This is a great dribble, and he sends it through. Dixon and Forbes going at it, and there was the eventual foul. Dixon was brought down.
Yeah, that's a clear foul by Forbes. You got to give credit to Omar Gordon for keeping the play alive for San Antonio, but also Oklahoma City. They did a fantastic job of dropping back defensively. Forbes was bursting through, and there was 5 players in that back line. You're talking about Fink, Dixon, Andrews, Highland, even Daly dropping back. Anthony Wallace was dropping back as well. What I'm seeing from Wallace is when Highland pushes up down the left side, Wallace actually drops into the midfield in the middle, and that allows Baril to push up as well. So Jimmy Nielsen is making sure that there is enough defensive cover in case there's a quick turnover, in case of a counterattack. Wallace dropping into the middle as well, Baril pushing up, and then obviously Mickey Daly is dropping into that back line. So he wants to make sure they have enough defensive cover to neutralize San Antonio's counterattacking capabilities.
It's good play by Chin. Get away from that pressure of Oklahoma City. Attack on up the right wing. Breaks down. Ibiaga away from Dixon. Lofted off Baril. Last time these teams met, a 1-1 draw. Oklahoma City missed an 82nd minute penalty off the crossbar from Cody Andrews, but bounced back, got the goal in stoppage time. Felt like that was the start of a roll. This Oklahoma City side picking up a point away to Toyota. And when you speak to Jimmy Nielsen this week, you get the feeling that he sees the same set of events lining up again, where you lose to Tulsa, then you find a result against San Antonio, and then you start a little run, and maybe that's what could propel them into the playoffs. As Angulo drives ahead, touches it through. That ball is excellent. That finish, it's a good save by Restrepo. Dove back on top.
That is why pace is so important, and playing the ball into space is so important. Look at Dixon. He continues his run. He gives it to Angulo. Angulo has plenty of space, but Dixon doesn't stop running. He runs into space. Maybe if he rounds the goalkeeper there, he would have scored, but still an encouraging sign for Oklahoma City. That's the second time they've been able to get a ball in behind the defense. The first time Ibiaga was able to clear it away.
2 players dummy it, both Wallace and Angulo. Restrepo, however, will actually get a touch.
And this is encouraging for Oklahoma City because they know now with McCarthy and Ibiaga, excellent defensive duo in the middle, but still a little static. They've been stagnant. They haven't been able to be as mobile, and they aren't as quick and can't keep up with Dixon and Angulo and Gonzalez and Wallace. So if they can continue to make those quick passes and continue those runs in the space throughout the match, they can get a great goal scoring opportunity. If Dixon just rounds the keeper, takes an extra touch, he slots it in with the left, and OKC is up 1-0.
It's Baril. So very close for Oklahoma City. Team coming off that 2-1 loss to Tulsa last time out. Chin got ahead, but 3 wins in their last 5. You'd argue that with the consistency in the schedule, consistency in the lineup, this is the best they've played all year.
Look, it's basically what? A game a week. You might have a couple of midweek fixtures in between, but if you can get consistency in the lineup so that the players understand what to do, movement away from the ball, when defensively, the movement in terms of the attack, when to time the runs in the space, they get that cohesion, they get that understanding, they can go on quite a tear and qualify for the playoffs.
Daly, Highland, met by Chin, lofts it into space. Hedrick and Gonzalez.
It's going to be tough. Hedrick with his pace outside on the right back. I mean, right backs usually are very fast. It's going to be tough to break down or create opportunities down the right side with Hedrick there. And Hedrick is not pushing up an attack, so he's not leaving the spaces open. He's not going to make himself vulnerable by coming up too high in the park. He's going to maintain that back line. It's Cochran that's going to be the one on the left side who pushes up in the attack. So it's going to be tough for OKC to break down San Antonio's defense from the Hedrick perspective.
Gonzalez fouled there, 25+ yards away from the net, and a free kick in a pretty good position for Oklahoma City.
Let's see how many bodies they send forward here. They're leery of that San Antonio counter, so we might not see it. Cody Andrews is a big target, big body. Pekka coming down. Not too much contact there, but didn't get it come close to the ball. More Gonzalez than Pekka, or more Gonzalez than the ball, I should say. So easy call there. And it looks like Gonzalez is going to go directly for goal here.
Why not?
Yep. Swerve it.
Instead, it's Angulo. Swung that wide. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I think what they were, the thought behind it was Restrepo, if Gonzalez takes it, he's going to swerve it to that post to the right of Restrepo. So maybe they thought Restrepo would make that lean over to that side, and then Angulo would quickly take it and then just basically put it where Restrepo wouldn't be, or where he wouldn't be. So maybe they outfunked themselves there with that free kick, but worth a try. Is that a word, outfunk? Is the funk past tense of think?
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. English wasn't my bestest subject, so I don't know. English wasn't my goodest subject. So. They outthought themselves. Well, there we go.
Hey.
There we go.
Think, thought, thunk.
Yeah. That's the subjunctive. Yeah.
Wallace. Half an hour gone in Oklahoma City between two teams that always play so tight. Oklahoma City leads the series with a win, 4 draws in the 5 meetings in the second year of what's a budding rivalry in the USL. Off the head of Reed.
Yeah, San Antonio, excuse me, Oklahoma City just doing well just to get enough bodies in the midfield and space themselves out well enough where they can't build anything. It's tough for San Antonio to build anything through the middle. And if they can make San Antonio play out wide, that works in their favor, because the crosses will come in, and then you have Andrews, a Fink, and a Daly, big bodies who can easily defend crosses. So the defensive strategy for OKC is working well.
Dixon. Angulo brought it down, challenged from behind. Free kick to Energy FC. Another collision. Ibiaga shaking his finger to the referee.
Yeah, Ibiaga has to be careful. You're a center back and you're basically breaking your line to come out and defend. Turned out to be a good foul because it allowed him to get back into position. But if he didn't commit the foul and OKC made the right passes, they would have been able to exploit the hole that he left in that back line. So Ibiaga, the foul worked out in his favor because he was able to get back into his position.
Brought down initially by Andrews, and now the attack on for Energy right down the middle. Baril. Angulo went back for Baril. That slip ball clearly part of the game plan tonight.
Yep, definitely trying to work the middle, get runs from a deeper position so that they can get in from behind the defense, or get into the back of the defense, but also they don't get tracked. If you don't see the man coming from right next to you, if you see the deeper run, it's harder for the defense to read that run. So we'll see if they can consistently work that out, OKC, and eventually get another goal-scoring opportunity from it.
Elizondo able to keep it initially. Now he runs onto it, tried to play it through. How did Andrews stretch out for that? That was Fink, rather. And now Energy FC pushing, trying to go around the corner. Dixon. And that seemed like a sure goal for Forbes if he gets around.
Absolutely. And you know what happened there was Elizondo actually points. If you see the replay, Elizondo makes a motion to Forbes to make the run with his right arm, and Forbes starts to make the run, and you have to wonder if Fink saw that motion by Elizondo and then just slid over just enough to get a boot onto it and prevent the ball to go through.
Reed continuing on, plays it through. Forbes toward the byline. And out was Cody Lorendi. Not that in the end it will make a difference. The Energy FC Gold Card is a benefit for season seat members that earns them discounts at several metro area locations like Dunkin' Donuts, Ifley Indoor Skydiving, and La Oakania Bakery. To learn more, visit energyfc.com/gold. La Oakania, huh?
From Oaxaca.
We on our way post-game?
I'm down with that.
Ball toward Gordon off of Highland and belongs to Lorendi again.
Yeah, this is a first half that's been very tactical, especially by Oklahoma City. They want to make sure that defensively they don't give up anything to San Antonio with pace, anything in space, anything up the middle. They wanted to make sure that they keep themselves tight defensively. And we saw the possession numbers, 62% for San Antonio. That rarely happens where Oklahoma City opponent gets that much possession. But Jimmy Nielsen is willing to give them the ball and say, all right, let's see if you can break down our defense. And the defense of Oklahoma City has been very well organized. And that's what so far, that's been the story of this first half.
Andrews stepped ahead. There's Baril. Gonzalez. Dixon. Richard Dixon touching inside. Alex Dixon pushed over by McCarthy.
Ooh, I thought that was a foul there. McCarthy clearly pushed Dixon off of the ball. You could see both arms extend out there.
Perhaps went down a little too easily for referees' liking. Gordon has got behind, sends it across. This is a great play, and it's wide from Forbes. How did he not score?
That is unbelievable, and Forbes knows he should have put that chance away. It's their best chance of the match, and it started with Gordon just basically getting physical. Once again, a long ball over the top. Pekka's the one with the service. He's able to get past Mickey Daly, and they lose track of Forbes. Sam Fink comes over. He has to help Daly because he was beaten by Gordon. Forbes timed his run, and he should have put that one away. San Antonio should be up a goal.
Forbes, who has scored, in particular early in the season, at a very high clip.
And that's the kind of play that Jimmy Nielsen was worried about, why he's organized his defense as such, because he didn't want to see a San Antonio player with pace in space. But it worked out well for San Antonio that one time. And for OKC, they were very lucky because Forbes knows he should have put that chance away.
Forbes 7 goals on the year. His last goal prior to the last meeting between these two teams was back on April 29th. So just 1 goal in the interim since the end of April for Billy Forbes, and it sure seemed like it was destined to be his 8th. On the other hand, Cody Lorendi comes out and makes it difficult.
Yep. Good goalkeeping. In your one-on-one situation, don't wait for the attacker to make the move. You're the goalkeeper, one-on-one. Force him to beat you, and that's, you come out aggressively, you rush him, and you cut down the angle. And if he has calm and composure, he scores. If he doesn't, he misses. And Billy Forbes didn't do that on that play. He lost his calm and composure there.
Hey fans, the USL, one of the most prominent second division professional leagues on the planet, and features some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date. All the latest league news and information is on USLsoccer.com, and follow them on Twitter at USL. '38th minute, Oklahoma City and San Antonio FC. San Antonio just narrowly missing the playoffs on the final game of the season last year. This year appear much more a lock to do damage come the postseason. They're the 3 seed as it stands now, tied with Swope Park, who have had a fantastic run of late. San Antonio is getting healthy again with their eye on really producing good results down the stretch and hosting some home playoff games. Flag is up for offside very narrowly. Frustration there for Angulo.
Yep, Angulo just mistimed this run a little bit. He's frustrated, but he knew that he had an opportunity to get behind that San Antonio defense. We've seen the best chances from both teams not so much come from the run of play or a gradual buildup, but the back line's getting caught a little high, someone timing their runs, and then breakaways one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So it's the defenses they're starting to figure out how to break down these defenses. Looks close. Oh, he looks, you know what, I think he's on. McCarthy is keeping him on. That's what it looks like there.
This link up falling apart as Wallace was dragged too far wide. When the ball is struck, it does look, and we're not straight on perfectly,
right,
but
from the angle that we saw, it looked like McCarthy was keeping Angulo on. So maybe he has a legitimate beef there.
You show me a player who's okay with an offside call, I'll show you a defender.
No one in the history of no attacking player in the history of football, soccer as I call it, ever thinks they're offside. No attacking player, whoever gets whistled for offside, ever thinks they're offsides.
Dixon, that's an excellent pass. Highland driving. Highland continuing. He's going to take a rip off of Hedrick. Bibiaga sends it further. Wallace dipping out to Dixon.
And well done by Andrews there to win back possession. But Andrews is playing with a little bit of fire there. He has to maintain his position in the back there because of San Antonio's threat. If he loses that ball, he opens up a huge gap for Forbes or Elizondo to take advantage of.
Well done by Pekka to slide there. San Antonio not only missing 4 players on their roster, either injury or suspension tonight, but also a pretty well rotated lineup. This ball for Gordon and Reed moving forward as well. Will land for Sam Fink. Rafa Castillo injured. Ben Noonan started last game but picked up his 5th yellow, so he's out. Victor Araujo is on the bench tonight, so too Mark Ojong and Chris Tierpak. Brought down by Angulo. Slides through, flag up for offside. This time Baril will take the shot anyways, and Restrepo was up to that challenge.
Woo! Very close again. Baril actually is the one that starts the play, bringing the ball up through the midfield, laying it off for one of his teammates there, Gonzalez and Dixon as well, and he continued his run down the right side, and Angulo just getting it to him late. It's a tough break there, but Baril, A nice run down the right side, down the right wing from his midfield position, holding central midfield role. Started that play and almost finished it. But that's the positivity of when you're making runs and you time your runs in the space. The positivity of that is that you led to an offside there, but something for the defense to think about as the game goes on.
Is San Antonio playing that high a line?
Well,
we'll find out in a moment. It appears. Dixon, Ibiaga, he spun out. Dixon keeping possession and looking forward. Highland pushing. Service across. That's snapped out.
Well, what's happening is they are playing higher than they probably want to. When you have all that possession, I mean, they've had over 60% of the possession. Your back line is going to start to creep up and creep up. And so Oklahoma City, on a number of occasions, or most of the time they've been offsides, they're seeing that, and then they're making runs in behind it, and no one is pressuring from San Antonio the ball in the midfield, so they've been able to get passes cleanly through. But that back line is staying in unison, and that's why they're getting all the offsides.
Angulo, Richard Dixon has it. Cochran comes up to play the man. Dixon sliced it in. Right to Restrepo.
If you're going to have a back line that creeps up that high, then they all need to creep up that high together in a line. If they don't, then someone is going to stay behind. There's going to be a hole. They're going to keep someone on sides, and the next thing you know, an attacker bursts through and has a great chance one-on-one. So San Antonio's back line is creeping up high, but they're also maintaining the line and staying in unison, and that's the important part, and that's why they've been able to catch OKC offsides a number of times.
Gordon into the box. It's Reed.
And Reed, we're seeing Reed push up a little bit higher, with Pekka kind of dropping in behind him, cleaning it up, doing a little more of the defensive work. Reed is pushing forward as well, trying to be someone that can add numbers in the attack, especially up the middle. And no one in OKC is pressuring the middle. There isn't a hard marking, kind of tight pressing going on in the midfield, so he has the freedom to do that, and that's why he was in that position to take that shot.
'45th minute between OKC, San Antonio. On the ground, past Gordon. Elizondo. It's Cochran overlapping now. Forbes has played him. Service in. Bounces toward Gordon. He tried to scissor kick it. Now it's Chin. Right to Lorendi.
Yeah, well done there by San Antonio getting that ball into the area. But OKC on a couple of occasions have had problems clearing the ball out. It hasn't been the cleanest manner of clearing the ball out and just booting it out, and so they're struggling with that. They better be careful. They're going to have to do a better job of that in the second half, or else San Antonio might get lucky here. Look at Chin is by himself. He has time here, and he just basically sends it into Lorendi's arms. But the defense of OKC, when San Antonio, on the rare occasion that San Antonio has gotten into the penalty area, they haven't done that well of a job of clearing it out cleanly. They're going to have to worry about that, clean that up for the second half.
Lorendi rolling this ahead. No added time in this first half, and so this should likely do it. Halftime in Oklahoma City, and true to form, these teams playing tight the whole way. It was a very clean first half, though.
Yeah, clean first half. Not too aggressive in terms of the tackling in the midfield. Not too much ball winning being done in the midfield. Both teams just playing back, trying to absorb the energy, if you will, making sure that you limit the amount of goal-scoring chances.
0-0 at halftime between Oklahoma City and San Antonio. We'll introduce you to Bond, Chad Bond, when we return.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, getting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
you could keep an eye on your business every hour of every day and know where your customers are at any moment? See what your employees are doing or tell if your windows and doors are secure. And what if you could do all that from anywhere? Introducing Cox Business Security. With HD surveillance and 24/7 monitoring, our security never sleeps, so you can. Cox Business Security Solutions. Security that means business.
Find out how a Mercy doctor can take care of you. At Mercy, your life is our life's work.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
This guy can't even work here.
4, 3, It is halftime in Oklahoma City Energy. Well, they've got something fun to watch. So too do we. Energy FC has some unique characters on the team. The one with the last name most identified with a famous movie character is Bond, Chad Bond. Energy FC digital reporter Skarky, Brent Skarky, introduces us to Chad, and yes, the James Bond theme should apply.
My name is Bond, Chad Bond. Okay.
You know I was going to go there, but the Energy, our happy Bond, is coming here. The USL veteran now part of the OKC defense.
Yeah, it's been great to get back into it. I mean, unfortunately I've been out of the game for the past few months, so when Jimmy gave me the call and came down, and he's been great to me, the coach and staff has, and the players have been great too, so it was nice to finally get the clearance and be involved.
The Welshman grew up in the Swansea Academy, but has played 3 seasons now in the USL with stops in Sacramento, Tulsa, and most recently St. Louis. He knows OKC and the Energy very well.
I think we've played against OKC 9 times maybe in 2 seasons, so yeah, a lot of familiarity. I've had people who've played here and I've played against them many times, so I kind of knew how they organised they were and how they set things up, which was very appealing to me, and it was great. I couldn't wait to come in and get started.
Bond, a natural defensive mid, he fits well into what Jimmy wants to do.
One of those guys at the right place at the right time, good experience, got a good eye for the game.
Great guy. I mean, he's somebody that can hold down the center of the field, and we look for him to kind of be the axis between both sides of the field. He's able to switch it with speed and get it over there like a full field switch pretty quickly, and that's kind of advantageous for the players we got, and just to move the ball quick, keep the defense on their toes. And
I like passing. I play the defensive midfield role, so I rely a lot on my passing accuracy and being able to turn defense into attack quite quickly. So I love to get in behind and make penetrating passes.
Chad, excellent player, brings a lot of experience, very good holding midfielder, good on the balls, very good talker. Again, you can see that he's played at a very high level, and he's got the experience behind him. Distribution is excellent, very good at picking out passes, and that makes him very dangerous to other teams because he can pick out a ball on a dime to a player running through. But over the piece, I think he's a leader in the locker room. I think the boys have really enjoyed being around him. I think he's a funny guy, and he's definitely added to the team.
So next time you're at Taft and see the dashing Welshman fly by on the pitch, remember, Bond is licensed to kill, opposing attack. For Energy FC TV, I'm Brent Skarky.
Oh, we got 10 seconds. Let's start counting. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
James Outland and Morgan Copes from the leadership of Birmingham, Alabama's 2019 USL expansion side recently visited the league offices. Announced as the first expansion team for 2019, Outland and Copes share in the excitement as the club begins to work towards its inaugural season.
Well, first and foremost, I think we're going to have a great product. We're going to have a professional environment. We're going to have a competitive team, and not just competitive, we want to win. So I think the competition and the level of play on the field is going to be top-notch, and I think the experience at the stadium and for the fans is going to be equally impressive.
What excites me about being in the USL in 2019 is it's a dream come true. I mean, this is something that, you know, there's a group of guys and individuals who have put a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, you know, everything you can think of from a grassroots perspective, startup, you know, to see it come to fruition. You know, when this whole thing really kind of started from, you know, just a couple beers at a local brewery. This whole idea, to see it come to fruition, it's going to be incredible.
What excites us about joining the USL is, first, Birmingham needs a professional sports team, and we think soccer is the ideal sport for Birmingham. It's a great growing sport across the country, and as importantly, the USL has really been a successful league. They've done a phenomenal job. We've done our research. We've been working on this for over 2 years now, and we really chose the USL because we think it's the best league and one of the best sports in the world, and we think Birmingham is primed to become a great professional soccer town.
It's going to be a fun, fast, exciting atmosphere. I mean, the game of soccer itself is always, you know, very exciting, you know, to watch live, just because of the speed of play, the physicality, the toughness that goes into it. But you know, I also think we're going to have a great, fun family atmosphere.
Well, it's been a great opportunity to come and get better familiarized with the people behind the league, and get to meet the folks that we work with on a weekly and ongoing basis, and really get our ducks in a row and be ready to launch for our 2019 beginning of the season.
The wealth of knowledge, the information, and just the organization around the entire organization itself is incredible. The professionalism is second to none. And you know, I'm excited about getting to meet the people and put faces to names. There's an old quote, you know, nobody cares what you know until they know you care. So I really look forward to establishing those relationships with league officers and just the people in and around here.
For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Halftime between Oklahoma City and San Antonio FC. Welcome back to Taft Stadium. Next game on ESPN3 matches Louisville City FC and Harrisburg City Islanders. It's Wednesday, August 23rd. It'll kick off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Slugger Field, where just last weekend they beat FC Cincinnati 5-0. Louisville City will play tomorrow. That game is available on YouTube. We'll be back with the second half of this one, as well as first half highlights. You're watching Oklahoma City Energy TV.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
Your banking needs are personal, none more so than your personal checking. FFB has a checking solution for you. Like FFB's debit card rewards, which earns you points with every debit card purchase. Points for travel, hotels, restaurants, or merchandise from your favorite stores. And as always, you'll enjoy FFB checking perks like mobile deposit, online bill pay, and free ATMs worldwide. That's a lot of punch packed into a little plastic. Visit ffb.com/rewards for more today.
Find out how a Mercy doctor can take care of you. At Mercy, your life is our life's work.
What if you could keep an eye on your business every hour of every day and know where your customers are at any moment? See what your employees are doing or tell if your windows and doors are secure. And what if you could do all that from anywhere? Introducing Cox Business Security. With HD surveillance and 24/7 monitoring, our security never sleeps, so you can. Cox Business Security Solutions. Security that means business.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
Fans waiting for this second half of play in Oklahoma City. 0-0 as they take on the number 3 team in the USL's Western Conference, San Antonio, in one of the budding rivalries in the USL. Mike Watts, George D. Metellus back with you. How about we look at the first half before we get ready for the second? Here are your first half highlights between the team from Oklahoma and the team from Central Texas. And early on, Oklahoma City Energy getting a good couple of free kick opportunities and not making nearly enough of them. Cody Lorendi out to take that. This game was really a matchup of two teams waiting to see which one would take the first step forward.
Absolutely. It was a situation where Oklahoma City was looking to just make sure they were solid defensively, and then plays like this they could take advantage of. It was a good ball by Dixon trying to connect with Angulo, and then Angulo returns a favor to Dixon, and that was OKC's best chance. I think Dixon, if he had tried to round the keeper, takes a touch with that right foot to go around the keeper and then finish with the left, he probably would have scored. And then this is the play that made us question our grammar, because we thought Miguel Gonzalez would take it with the right, try to swerve over the wall. Instead, Angulo goes with the left and goes wide. But then San Antonio started to find those spaces, and Forbes should have finished his opportunity there. That was San Antonio's best chance to get the goal, and it goes just wide. And San Antonio started to figure out how to get in behind the defense, how to get those spaces and put players into space with that back line. Back line started to get a little tired, and San Antonio was able to create some opportunities. This is a good chance by Chin right in the arms of Lorendi, but it was a match where both teams were conservative. San Antonio tried to push the envelope, but it didn't quite work.
Here are your halftime statistics, and it seems to bear out the eyesight that you had here.
Yeah, I think OKC, 55% possession for San Antonio. OKC was very content to let San Antonio have the possession as long as they can clog the midfield, not allow San Antonio to build through the midfield. And the San Antonio broke them down a little bit toward the end. So the stats showing that both teams were trying to play solid defensively. Look at the number of offsides. 7 offsides and 9 shots. So this goes to show those back lines were trying to be solid.
Here's a look around the United Soccer League from this past week. Luke Spencer, part of that 5-0 win for Louisville City over FC Cincinnati. 13,800 at Slugger Field for that one. They're back home in the USL Game of the Week against the City Islanders on Wednesday night. USL expansion for 2018 and 2019. Vegas is coming to the Western Conference along with Nashville, Fresno, all in 2018, Austin, and Birmingham in 2019. And then that Open Cup run comes to a bit of a heartbreaking finish for FC Cincinnati. Here's some notable results from the week that was. The Independents beating Bethlehem 1-0, a goal by Enzo Martinez, as he's on a real run along with the Independents in the Eastern Conference. Ottawa falling to Orlando City B as Paul Dalglish has moved on from that organization, resigning last week. A 2-2 draw between number 1 and number 2 in the Western Conference, Real Monarchs and Swope Park, and then 1-1 between Orange County and Phoenix to open up their new stadium last night.
Yeah, well done there by Phoenix and Orange County, but that 2-2 between Swope Park and Real Monarchs, that must have been some game. Top two teams in the West. We might see them again in the Western Conference Finals.
And here's a look at what's coming up around the USL next weekend. Orange County is in the midst of a 4-game homestand at that gorgeous new park. It was sold out for their opener. They'll take on Oklahoma City Energy on Friday. That game 8:30 in the central time zone, of course. Louisville City and Orlando City B will play Saturday. That's a matchup of two teams that made the playoffs last year. Reno, a real shock this year. Swope Park making a run to the USL Cup final last year. And Sacramento Phoenix could be a game we see in the playoffs down the line.
You think it was a coincidence that they opened the stadium the day that Didier Drogba was playing there? Just saying.
And then he doesn't make the 18.
Oh, that'd be, that has got to be, if you're a fan, you're like, why do you do this to me?
To steal a line from Gus Johnson, Heartbreak City.
Yes, Heartbreak City.
Didier Drogba scored in the 4th minute of stoppage time against Orange County the last time they were on the road to OCSC.
That free kick.
For the draw, right, a 25-yard free kick.
Yep.
Drogba breaking hearts whether he's there or not, as it turns out.
Some Heartbreak Hotel there, for sure. Heartbreak Ridge. Any other heartbreaks we can come up with?
Hotel California.
Hotel California. Any heartbreak for all you New Edition fans? I don't know. Achy breaky heart. Oh, our producer's telling us achy breaky heart. That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Roberto Fernandez is producing. Claudio Tellicher, our director. Andy Martinez on the replays, and the best sound man in the business as well, right, George?
Santiago Dobles, yes. He is the man, my boy. Yes, getting it done, doing a great job. Everybody's doing a fantastic job.
Well, we hope you're enjoying it. Mike Watts, George DiMattelis, we're on our way in the second half of play between Oklahoma City and San Antonio.
Yeah, I want to see the tactical changes that these coaches make. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. I wonder if OKC will continue to make sure that defensively they keep things tight and maybe even concede a little bit of possession to San Antonio, and then San Antonio, how they respond with that.
Kyle Highland given a lot of space here. Finally cut off by Hedrick.
Yeah, he wanted to connect with Angulo, but Angulo maybe timed his run a little too soon, and he was offside, and so Highland had to play the ball back and kind of hold on to the ball, couldn't get that through ball to Angulo.
Angulo set up the right-hand side. What can Richard Dixon do? Fink. A square ball for Wallace. Intermediary for Daly.
And it was throwing it in the middle channel to connect with, so they have to play it back. Baril was heading toward the middle, but Wallace had to play the ball back.
Restrepo under no pressure at all. Taft Stadium in Oklahoma City. The Energy FC Gold Card is a benefit for season seat members that earns them discounts at several metro area locations. As this ball over to Cochran. Through the legs, Forbes continuing on, runners down the center of the box. And this taken away, but Cochran recovers. Reed. George, I'm not sure if you know all the places where you can get discounts with your Energy FC Gold Card.
No, I don't.
Like
Tell me.
Dental Works or Central State Beauty and Wellness College, iCakes, Gourmet Cakes and Desserts, and, of course, Supermercado Morelos.
Sounds good.
EnergyFC.com/gold. Wallace. Dixon. Sending it all the way across. Miguel Gonzalez is dragged wide and simply too far for him.
I could go for some cake and dessert. That would be cool.
All right, iCakes.
Yeah. Tasty cakes.
I think those are different.
Oh. I'm not a connoisseur of desserts. As long as it tastes good.
You don't look.
And it's free. It's all good.
You don't look like a connoisseur of desserts. I do.
Well, that's because I'm wearing clothes that are baggy.
This is for Forbes. Lorendi got out there in time before the speedy striker, the native of Turks and Caicos Islands, got there.
That's another Caribbean player. I'm telling you, USL and MLS really has the potential to become a place where talented Caribbean players can play professional, develop, and become world-class footballers. So that's the beauty of what the American soccer system, that those two levels can can bring to the whole region, to the whole CONCACAF region, and start to compete with Liga MX, because right now, in terms of continental domination, the Liga MX is the best league. They're representing CONCACAF all the time in the FIFA Club World Cup. So those could get those Caribbean players that could help improve the quality of the football in MLS and USL.
And you think about Oklahoma City, they've brought Chivas here. Omar Bravo playing with Chivas Guadalajara at Taft Stadium last year, and then Pachuca this year. And talking to Jimmy Nielsen right after that Pachuca game, he seemed to indicate he felt like that could be a turning point for them, getting a draw in what was admittedly a friendly.
Right.
Went to penalties, and Pachuca won that way, but they won the Champions League in this region last year.
Definitely something to build on. If you can get a draw with the best team in the region, and even if it's a friendly, and maybe Pachuca didn't play its stars, but still a lot of people in a lot of people's minds, a second choice Liga MX side.
Ball played in by Reed, and Lorendi got down to make the stop.
Yeah, a second choice, then a lot of people's eyes and minds, a second choice Liga MX side should have no problem going up against a USL team, but the USL team showed that they can hang. So that's a positive sign going forward, and Jimmy Nielsen has a ton of experience playing against Liga MX teams in his day. So that's always a good thing going forward for USL.
Michael Reed here.
Yeah, Reed, we saw in the first half, that maybe the last 10 minutes of the first half, Reed, because he doesn't have anyone in the midfield to mark, doesn't have any strong defensive responsibilities, like Gonzalez is not dropping back that deep, Angulo not that deep, and Wallace, Anthony Wallace, not showing that kind of possession type midfielder. He's had the freedom to come up and attack, and he has been unmarked for the most part in the attack for San Antonio. So Oklahoma City better be careful that Reed doesn't get another opportunity. He's had two shots from long range in this match so far, and they've been uncontested.
Lorendi outside his box, approaching Forbes. And a clear foul from behind by Cody Andrews.
Yep, clear foul from behind. But what it does do is it does kind of take Omar Gordon out of the game in terms of physically. He knows he's going to run into a brick wall and Cody Andrews. So it's a foul, but it's also a message sent by Cody Andrews. And you want your center backs to send messages, as long as there's no cards involved, obviously. Send those kind of messages to the attacking players on the opposition.
So Michael Reed lines it up. Reed toward this near post and right into your living room.
Now we're seeing, look at Hedrick is now pushing forward a little bit here. You wonder if San Antonio is starting to say, all right, we had most of the possession. We're going to have to take some risks here and send more players forward. Hedrick is one of those players out wide. We'll see how that plays out. Playing out wide, can stretch out the defense, that back line a little bit. It could work in your favor. We'll see if it works out as the second half moves on.
A booming header back past Fink. And lest we forget, yes, Pachuca played Oklahoma City, but also San Antonio hosted Santos Laguna in a preseason friendly for Laguna, mid-season friendly for San Antonio back on July 8th, and drew a great crowd at Toyota Field, a sellout for that affair.
Los Guerreros, the Warriors of Santos Laguna, one of the big teams in the Mexican top flight.
It's Barril. Overrun for the ball, but they forgot something. Here comes Highland. Kyle Highland continuing on. Hendrick got in there. Sip reaching in there. Hendrick may be starting a counter here. That's a full jersey tug and a clear yellow card as Forbes goes straight down.
Yeah, that's an easy one for the referee Jorge Ramirez to make.
Now feels like a really good time to mention that these jerseys are made by Nike. How did that thing hold together? Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit USLsoccer.com.
That dry fit fabric, is that what it is? I don't know. Yeah.
Might as well be elastic.
Yeah. That's an easy call there. But Sam Fink, that's the advantage of pace. You see right there, Billy Forbes got into space around Sam Fink. He's faster.
Ibiaga the target there, heads that into the grid.
And he was able to get around Fink, and Fink did what he had to do to prevent a breakaway. So it was a good situation there for San Antonio.
Cody Lorendi set to send this away. The Energy FC Gold Card is a benefit for season seat members that earns them discounts at several metro area locations like All American Roofing, Abel's Mexican Restaurant, MVS Seamless Guttering, Latino Supermarket, and Kottner Law Group. As Restrepo picks that up, learn more, energyfc.com/gold.
I think San Antonio, they've made a little bit of an adjustment with their tactics here. Looks like maybe they've gone 3 in the back with Hedrick. Cochran is pushed up more as a winger. That's what it looks like. Maybe they're going to take some risk playing 3 in the back now. We're seeing Chin out wide, maybe a 3-5-2.
Dixon sprayed it up the left-hand side, too far for Gonzalez.
Yeah, this is definitely an important part, a crucial part of this match, especially for OKC. They have to have a little bit of possession here, get this ball back somehow, because they were able on a number of occasions to get behind the San Antonio defense. It was just a matter of timing. They got caught off sides 3 times, but it was just the timing. If they get the timing down, they can score. And remember, Dixon had that chance that was kept out by Restrepo as well. So just all they need is some possession here, and they can get those chances.
Dixon on the ball for Oklahoma City. 10th in the West. Still very much in position with games in hand to make a run into the playoff picture. And all that's considered. 56 minutes gone against the number 3 team right now in the USL's Western Conference. San Antonio FC, at least by the table. Deflects off of McCarthy. Dixon dipping his shoulder. That deflects. Richard Dixon turned on it. Contact with Pekka.
Ooh, and OKC had numbers in the area as well, even with Richard Dixon flying in.
Baril off of Ibiaga. Dixon. That just skips by. Maybe now a chance to turn and counter, something we haven't seen very often for San Antonio with Oklahoma City playing such a patient game tonight. Wallace couldn't dispossess. Gordon lost the handle. Bouncing into midfield. Here's Reed, captain's armband on the left bicep. Goes behind the back. Cochran. Reed. The return ball from Pekka. Wallace holding Pekka off. And play will come back.
Good positional defending by OKC. You saw Forbes tried to make a run. He was well covered and well marked there by Sam Fink. And then they could not break down the OKC defense. So Oklahoma City, defensively, they're keeping their shape. They're keeping themselves organized. And San Antonio just can't find a way to break through right now.
A throw for Cochran, 96%. A number that's so staggering that you have to ask Preston Petrie to double check it. Of the minutes in San Antonio history have included Greg Cochran to this point.
How much?
96%.
Whew. Man,
that's
amazing.
He's a constant.
Yes. You can see why. He doesn't make mistakes. He knows when to push up.
There's your through ball. Angulo got a touch to it and didn't steer it as well as he had hoped. It's a corner, that's it. But Angulo could add something more there right before the hour mark.
Well, when you put a different accent on his last name, it's Angulo, and that means angle. And he took the wrong angle on this ball. Didn't expect it to swerve into the middle, or maybe he's a step late, doesn't get the right touch onto it. But it was a tough break there for Angulo, because if he gets a touch on it, he's able to score. Just misreads that pass. It's a great ball in the area. Angulo has to do better.
Baril. It's a good touch by Elizondo to get as far as Wallace lines it back across. Baril has options, swerves it in.
Oh, Sam Fink just driving in there. Coming in and just a step late. Good defending there by San Antonio in the 6-yard box. And they dodge another bullet, but now you can see Oklahoma City, they have no problem filtering that ball into the area. It's just a matter of getting that right touch to finish and score. But that's what happens when they get a little bit of possession and Dixon gets a touch and Gonzalez gets a touch. They're able to make things happen. San Antonio in this game defensively, they're giving up spaces, and that's a positive sign for Oklahoma City. Now it's just a matter of finishing them. Got to get Angulo on the end of one of those services.
Off of Richard Dixon, he'll come to Hedrick, and now Chin. Born and raised in the Miami area, Chin was. That'll come outside. Daly is up to the task on Gordon, at least initially. Gordon circles around him, recovers the possession.
Yeah, Gordon in the beginning of the match started kind of as the center forward, the point in the attack, but after about 20 minutes, he's floated out wide on the right, and it's been Elizondo who's filled in that role as the kind of point man, the lone striker up top. Hasn't quite worked out too well for San Antonio. I think Elizondo, they would like him to be a little bit deeper, more of a playmaker.
This will come down to Ibiaga. Touched by Gordon. There's nobody there. Daniel Gonzalez walking over toward the table for Oklahoma City.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Tonight's CLC raffle winners. Susan Painter.
We'll have to wait at least a bit longer.
Natalie Carusatos. And
Wallace retreating.
Susan Painter, Natalie Carusatos.
And Wallace is putting in some hard work in the midfield as a defensive midfielder, just floating in front of that back line.
Baril serves for Richard Dixon off his chest and lifted out of play by Cochran. Alex Dixon off the head. Ibiaga.
That would
throw.
Yeah, that would have been tough for him to get Angulo. Angulo was marked. He had 3 defenders in front of him.
It's Gonzalez. Down to one knee, Restrepo.
See Baril, he's putting in some hard work, tracking back, trying to win the possession.
Another through ball that Ibiaga cuts off. You know, in the past with Harrisburg, he's been the goal scorer, the assist man. Jimmy Nielsen's told us over the course of this year that they've asked him to fill a different role with this group.
Yeah, it's more like a kind of a deep-lying playmaker, someone that can link the back line, link the defense with the midfield and the attack.
Forbes taps to Lorendi.
He's put in hard work defensively. We've seen him track back defensively, help out in the back as well. So he's put in a strong shift. He's worked very hard in this match. Probably hasn't been able to be as effective as he would like in the attack. Hasn't linked up with Miguel Gonzalez at all, or very few times in this match. Miguel Gonzalez has been very quiet in this game. I wonder if a little tactical shift will get him more touches. We'll see.
Forbes. Strong touch past Cochran. Fans, stay up to date. The latest league news and information is on USL Coast to Coast. It's Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central on Sirius XM FC, Channel 85. And don't forget, XMFC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check uslsoccer.com for dates and times, including Wednesday night when Louisville City takes on Harrisburg City Islanders. Dixon on the turn. Winds it up the left-hand wing. Highland has runners in the box and chooses to go to Dixon. Gets around the corner on Gordon. Chin. Daly.
Not much movement so far. A lot of players kind of standing around.
Dixon, right, Debiaga. Forbes.
And there's that hard work from Barril. We spoke about defensively, but we didn't see Angulo, not too much movement from Angulo or Miguel Gonzalez.
Mentioned Daniel Gonzalez, who's down there at 60 minutes. He's been waiting for 5 minutes. That's how long the ball has been in play. Is Barril hobbling off here? Barril is done, having started his 17th game of the year, his 20th appearance. And on comes Gonzalez, who scored twice. This is his 20th appearance, year number 3 with the Energy.
Let's see. Gonzalez will probably, fresh legs, fill the role of Barril in the middle, dropping back to help out defensively as well.
Header by Elizondo.
Energy FC. Sale con el número 14, José Barrín, entra con el número 12, Daniel González.
Wallace.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Tonight's winners of
It's almost as if Oklahoma City playing a 4-3-3 now with Gonzalez, Wallace, and I guess you can even say Gonzalez and Wallace and Dixon.
The names on the reverse side are Ron, Bill, and Keith.
Right, or actually, I should say Daly, Wallace, and Gonzalez, and then Dixon is actually kind of playing a little bit higher alongside Angulo and Gonzalez. Gonzalez, Angulo, and Dixon are kind of well, not kind of, they're the attacking three, with Daly, Gonzalez, and Daniel Gonzalez now, and Wallace, the midfield three. It's a kind of a more defensive-minded midfield three.
Here comes Chris Tierpak. All he does is score against Oklahoma City. It's everywhere he's been. The PDL MVP in 2013, 2015 with Austin, 2016 with Swope Park. And he'll replace Cesar Elizondo for San Antonio.
Now, with that move, I suspect that Omar Gordon will go back up top, and Tierpak will kind of float out wide to the right. See if that's the case.
Wallace, that's a dangerous chip that Restrepo got to.
And it's been tough for Oklahoma City with crosses because they don't get numbers ahead or numbers up in order to make it harder or force San Antonio defenders to man mark. So it's been easy for San Antonio to defend because they aren't getting enough numbers up.
This is Dixon. I don't know what it is tonight. There must be some kind of current because a couple balls from San Antonio going this direction took a similar, very upward flight path.
Oh, it's full moon out. The tides are acting strange. Some weird energy in the air. I don't know. Yeah, it's a situation I think that we haven't seen too many shots, so maybe they aren't even loose yet. Who knows? I mean, it's been a very conservative, slow-paced game from both teams. Oklahoma City is making sure that defensively they keep their shape and they stay organized.
Cody Andrews, the guilty party here, as Gordon remains down. 25-year-old forward making his debut on the season.
Yep, Gordon with Tierpak now on floating out wide on the right. Gordon has moved up into that center forward role. And there's Andrews again, getting physical with a player in the back, through the back, around the same part of the field too, if my memory serves. So This looked like also.
It's Reed. Bounced down as Ibiaga was in the box. And now it's a long run back for this defensive San Antonio. The break is on for Gonzalez. And taken away by Pekka. Impeccable.
Yes, impeccable Pekka. Yes. Well done there by Pekka, who has very quietly done very well defensively for San Antonio in this game. And San Antonio almost looks like they're also at a kind of a 4-3-3 also with Chin, Pekka, and Reed in the midfield, and then Forbes pushing up with Gordon, and now Tirpak on the right. So a little bit of an adjustment there for both teams. Now San Antonio.
Pekka, another guy who played for Rayo, OKC.
What happened, yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with Rayo. When Rayo Vallecano, the parent club in Spain, went down to the second division, that really hurt the Oklahoma City Rayo financially, and that proved to be, that's the death knell right there. When Rayo Vallecano went down and got relegated in Spain, I mean, La Liga's big bucks. You stay in the first division, you know, you can make some things happen. When you go down second division, it's tough to have a team and sustain a team outside of the country. So that really was, that was tough for Rayo OKC. They had a good thing going, that was something that really could blossom.
Forbes the target here. And, of course, they played a spirited U.S. Open Cup match against Oklahoma City Energy. Was it last year where Kyle Highland scored late in that affair?
Yep.
In what, it would be extra time of the Open Cup. And so the Energy, the annals of history will hold the advantage there.
So if some kid is walking around with a Rayo OKC jersey,
tell him to throw it out and get an Energy. I mean,
exactly. Well, maybe they keep it. You know, that's could be a souvenir worth some money in the future. You never know.
Tell that to the Scorpions.
Oh yeah, maybe not.
Similar road.
Yeah.
As down goes Forbes, it's a foul conceded by Oklahoma City Energy FC. Forbes really still making his point. One wonders if there might be a little further discussion to be had between the official and Forbes. It's been heated all game. Jorge Ramirez and Forbes. To be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Well, I'm not a professional lip reader, but from what I read on the lips of Jorge Ramirez, it looked like he said, "Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that." And I thought after he said that, the referee said that a couple times, I thought the yellow card was going to come out for insubordination, or as I like to say, talking too much yin-yang, but didn't come out. Jorge Ramirez has been very patient in his game. I think he's done an excellent job in this match.
Agree. Angulo for Wallace. Oh, the run down the center looked interesting. In the end, McCarthy was there. He's a warrior in the air, McCarthy is.
Yeah, to beat McCarthy, who's what, 6'3", 6'4", he's a tall center back. It was going to take something a little bit higher, but the thought process was there, and it's a good run by Alex Dixon, well-timed up the middle by the number 11 of OKC. And unfortunately for Energy FC, it didn't, he ran into a tall defender, and that hurts.
Couple changes now. On comes Maxi Rodriguez, the 21-year-old native of San Antonio, will replace Pekka in what you would argue is an offensive-minded substitution.
Yes, that is a good move, or an aggressive move for sure by Darren Powell. And we will see what that works out. I think with Rodriguez coming in, look for Sean Chin to move into the middle and continue his work defensively as Rodriguez pushes up. I mentioned the 4-3-3 with Forbes, Gordon, and Chin up top. Now Rodriguez is going to add another attacking player, someone to push forward. So Chin and Reed might just drop into the middle and be the defensive anchors, if you will. Because Chin, we haven't seen him push forward too much. He's had a lot of work, and he's been forced or been asked to put in some work defensively.
Angulo trying to hold his position. Forbes keeping the ball still. Now Richard Dixon come around and knock it away. A corner coming. The Energy FC Gold Card is a benefit for season seat members that earns them discounts at several metro area locations like Whole Foods, Carl's Plax, Anthem Brewing, and Buffalo Wild Wings on Northwest Expressway. Learn more at energyfc.com/gold. It's Gordon on the corner in the 75th minute. Initial header won by Oklahoma City, and now Gonzalez off to the races, met by Chin.
But that's where Chin is effective. He's a fast player, so you put him in the midfield, in a central midfield role, a defensive-minded midfield role, and Gonzalez can't get around him. Now he commits the foul, but no card was given, slowed up the OKC attack, and it allowed San Antonio to reset. So the move there by bringing in Rodriguez and then Chin dropping into that holding midfield role alongside Reed is a good move there, and it should preserve a little bit of San Antonio's integrity, defensive integrity, if you will.
As Reed down the middle, Gordon is turned. Gordon, Wallace at his back. Dixon stepped in. Wallace slid it upfield, and here comes Andy Craven. It's fresh into the game. Craven a bit behind the mark. Right to Reed.
Yeah. Well, Craven coming on. It's a position swap with Dixon, so he's just going to man the right side, Angulo in the middle, and then Gonzalez out wide on the left. So the 4-3-3 stays intact with Craven down the right side.
Forbes holding off Andrews. Gordon, overlapping run, chooses to take it himself. Out to Wallace. Tried to flick over for Craven. Gordon lines it across. It's snapped down by Forbes, who's looking for a handball. But it's Highland. Comes back the other way for Energy FC.
Yep, Anthony Wallace now. With Barril out, he's going to have to be a little more involved in the attack going forward. With under 15 minutes left, which one of these teams is going to take the risk of sending an extra player forward to try and get this game-winning goal?
That's Wallace. Well, you just heard someone whistling. There's a reason why. Vucic took his shirt off and put his jersey on. He's set to come on in a moment. This is Angulo. On out Gonzalez.
Yeah, Angulo was waiting for Dixon, Richard Dixon, to kind of cut in behind. Dixon didn't do it, so Angulo had to come in, cut in, and he just basically dribbled himself right into the heart of the San Antonio defense. So well done by San Antonio, keeping their shape, being well organized in the back. It's been tough. In the second half, it's been much more difficult for either team to break down the other side's defense. We saw a number of chances in the first half. Hasn't quite worked in the second half. You wonder if fatigue has something to do with it.
Fink, right to Restrepo.
Obviously, I think just smarter play by the defense. The defenses in the midfield has clamped down on both teams' attack.
Craven trying to lob Restrepo.
And Restrepo was in trouble. He was out of position. You could see him actually running back with his back toward the outfield, if you will, looking for that ball. So if Craven was a little more accurate, it would have been Restrepo would have been forced to make a spectacular save. Good thought process there. Good job by Craven to keep his head up and take a look at what the goalkeeper is doing and put some imagination into that strike.
Last time Vucic played, he fractured his elbow, and still with a large plank to maintain some stability for that broken bone, went and met with the fans in the grid, having scored 2 goals in the game. And finally, his return replaces Zangulo. Dixon will go off, grab some water real quick, and Well, Vucic is back.
Well, the good thing about Vucic is back, it's good to see. Has that look like he has that Barry Bonds arm, bionic arm protector on his left hand, on his left arm there. So it's good to see. But what Vucic can do, he's a big target man in the area, very good in the air. Obviously, for his size, he's going to be a big target, someone who can get in the air, win headers, and maybe that's what they need, because playing the ball on the ground, trying to break down the defense with quick passes and running into space hasn't quite worked for OKC in this match. And I think Miguel Gonzalez playing out wide in what I view as the 4-3-3 now has essentially kind of taken him out of the game. We haven't seen too many touches from Gonzalez.
Gonzalez a header. Vucic stepping toward the ball. Forbes, Rodriguez, Tierpak. Cochran. It's Forbes. Good slide by Rodriguez to keep possession for San Antonio. 10 minutes to go plus stoppage. Tierpak. There is no place on the field that's outside Tierpak's range, although in this case, well done by Daly. Off the referee. Chance for San Antonio. Tierpak cut it across. Well, these moments happen. They do.
And it's a shame because Dixon just made a pretty smooth move to get around one of the San Antonio players and then just passed it. He was trying to get into the middle and looking for, I believe it was Gonzalez, Daniel Gonzalez, and the referee made the pass to the referee instead. So an unfortunate turn of events for Richard Dixon.
Will Arendi be put to the test? Gordon, a hopper, cleared by Craven. Rodriguez puts that out of play. Miguel Gonzalez throws in. Kyle Highland. Craven held up and stayed onside. Look at the speed from Gordon. Although his touch leads him out over the byline.
Oh, you gotta like the effort from Omar Gordon.
Put in Wallace. That was very cheeky from Energy FC. Craven and Wallace were on the same page.
Oh, well done there by OKC. And if Wallace gets a good touch onto it there, he was pressured there defensively, but if he gets a good touch onto it, there's an open net there. Restrepo was definitely caught off guard. He was not expecting it. It's a great ball by Craven on the corner, anticipated well by Wallace. Just unfortunate for OKC that the touch didn't go his way. Wallace was being defended. There was a little bit of pressure on him there. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit. There was a player marking him right on his hip, so it was tough for him to get a clean shot on frame.
Look at Gonzalez go. Oh. Highland sends the shot. Oh, he missed it wide.
Miguel Gonzalez just did what we call the seal dribble. You know, you dribble it on your nose like seals do in the circuit, not the circus or whatever, this aquarium or whatever it's called.
I'd pay to watch that too.
Yeah. You know who's the creator of that? There was a Brazilian player by the name of Kerlon who did that before. He did the seal dribble, and he would. First of all, it's a great play by Gonzalez and sending it out wide. Highland had space, but Kerlon is the name of this Brazilian kid. He used to do that, just dribble it off of his face, off of his head like that. But he had to stop doing it because those defenders would get tired of it and would just kick him right in the stomach a couple of times. So, but Kerlon is the one with the seal dribble there. That was beautiful there by Daniel Gonzalez.
Craven wide. Craven cross. Vucic watches it fly over. Morelos is a proud partner of Energy FC. Get your grocery shopping done and buy your tickets to the next Energy FC home match at Supermercado Morelos stores on Southwest 59th in Santa Fe and Northwest 50th and Meridian.
That was pretty fun there by Daniel Gonzalez, the little seal dribble, the homage to Kerlon, and he almost got kicked in the stomach by Rodriguez as well.
Well done to win it away. Vucic.
Yeah, not enough players in attack for OKC, so Vucic had to turn around and send it back. He was surrounded by 3 players. San Antonio, sometimes pace isn't just about the attack and getting into space, but also doing well enough to use that pace to get back defensively and get numbers to close down the spaces and not allow an attack to go forward. And that's one thing that's one of the reasons why San Antonio is the best defense in the league, have conceded the fewest goals in the league. They have the speed, not only in attack, but also it works out well in defense.
Ball headed down right into Reed. Gonzalez carries ahead, plays it through. It's Craven for the lead. He plays it across. Miguel Gonzalez off of Rodriguez, and a corner.
That time, though, Daniel Gonzalez, fantastic effort. No one was there. You have to wonder, Cochran, the left back, gets caught way too high on the attack. Quick turnover, and Gonzalez, calm and composed, gets it to Craven. Craven squaring it for Vucic. Maybe the layoff.
Gonzalez caught by Andrews. They're looking for a call. It simply won't come. And a player down in the box appears to be Ibiaga.
But Gonzalez, see Craven looking for it, gets into space, head up, squares it. Vucic is just a step late. You wonder if he's just a little rusty from the time he's missed. But well done there. And look at no pressure on Gonzalez, so he has time to pick out the ball, pick out the space. It's great ball through. You wonder if maybe the ball off the turf skips over the foot of Vucic a little bit. The turf has something to do with it, because it wasn't a flat squaring in the middle, it was a bouncy ball. So you wonder if that had something to do with it, but still OKC. That was the best chance they had in this second half.
Ibiaga back to his feet here with 4 minutes plus stoppage to go. Miguel Gonzalez nearly the hero again against San Antonio.
And just as we were talking about Miguel Gonzalez not having that much influence in the game, being very quiet in this match for the majority of the second half, he's done very little. He hasn't had too many touches, or not enough touches on the ball, I should say. Last 2 or 3 minutes, we've seen the Kurlan seal dribble that set up Highland, and now he was there to test the San Antonio defense as well. So positive things happen for OKC when Miguel Gonzalez gets a lot of touches. Very simple formula.
Tossed in by Cochran. Kept in play by Dixon. Wallace. Big overload on that near side of the field. Fink. Dixon. Craven. Craven attacking Ibiaga. Dixon. Gonzalez. Ooh. Craven. Tried to play it back. Miguel Gonzalez takes over again. Touches it wide. Richard Dixon sends the service. It's all the way over Daly. Can he keep this in? He does. Highland off an excellent service. That off of Cyprian Hedrick, his former backline teammate. Highland again, and now Wallace.
Oh, the back heel by Craven. I understand the showmanship, the creativity, but it wasn't necessary. He was right there level with the defenders. Just take that quick touch, turn toward goal, and finish your chance. Got a little too fancy with it and cost him a shot on frame.
Fink. Cochran. Dixon took it away. Vucic. Give and go. Able to keep it. Vucic!
Ooh.
Well, that would have been quite the return. Right where he left off, Vucic, if he finds a way to send that rocket into the net.
Vucic, it's good to have him back. That's one aspect of his game that maybe Angulo doesn't have. The fact that he does track back, he's willing to work a little bit harder in the midfield to win the possession and hold on the possession. Well, Angulo is more kind of a penalty box predator in that sense. But Vucic has certainly made a positive impact since coming on in this second half. And now for OKC, you can see the confidence is building. Vucic is getting touches. We're seeing Miguel Gonzalez get touches. Andy Craven has looked very dangerous since coming on, especially down that right side. He's given Ibiaga and Cochran all kind of problems. And Cochran is he might have to drop back here because he's playing very high. I know Chin is dropping back to make a 4-man back line, but Cochran, he might have to drop back and kind of give up a little bit of his attacking responsibilities because he's leaving space down the right side, and everything so far OKC has done in these last 5 minutes in attack have come from the right side of their attack, the left side of San Antonio's defense, and that's where Cochran needs to be patrolling his area a little bit better or coming back and helping out.
Ibiaga, clever touch away from Craven initially. Gonzalez got a touch, and Chin launches it up the field. It's Forbes, headed back right to Lorendi. For Vucic, this is his first appearance since June the 7th. He has looked pretty good.
Yep, definitely. He's come in, a big body, and as I mentioned before, willing to work hard, come back, win the ball in the midfield, and battle for possession.
Lorendi, Ibiaga, only as far as Daniel Gonzalez. Fink. Ahead by Dixon. Craven. Miguel Gonzalez. Away from Rodriguez.
Yeah, Miguel Gonzalez has taken it upon himself to come in more centrally.
Pushing on now toward Gonzalez, and there's McCarthy. A 6'4" center back. Continuing all the way to the halfway line. 2 minutes of added time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official on the sidelines indicated 2 minutes of added time this half. 2 minutes.
Craven hampered there by Ibiaga. That takes a deflection off Ibiaga. Cyprian Hedrick will kick that out. Restrepo a bit frustrated, felt like they had that under control.
Ibiaga is playing with fire because he went up and tried to win that ball and he left a huge hole, and Anthony Wallace was about to run into it. Luckily for San Antonio, the connection was disrupted.
Craven, Wallace. Well, that's kicked out by Ibiaga. It's merely a throw in the first minute of stoppage time. No, there will be no flip throws here. It won't be Harris. Kyle Highland just off your screen.
He will be back shortly.
Highland. Restrepo will make that catch.
And Wojcik is looking back at Highland as if to say, I'm the target, throw it to me. But the problem was Wojcik was surrounded by 3 defenders. Would have been and he was near post as well, so it would have been a tough header for him to get onto and send toward frame. The angle would have been very difficult, or was very difficult, and Highland just overthrew it. But Wojcik was looking to be the intended target.
Wojcik did get that through. Craven arriving on the scene, looking for a late game winner. Vucic played it back off his heel. Comes to Restrepo. Hey fans, make sure to stay up to date. All the latest league news and information is on USLsoccer.com and on Twitter at USL. Maybe the last look of the game for San Antonio.
Yeah, you mentioned Craven coming in. Craven was coming in. The problem was he was a little too far out wide, and so he couldn't cut in at the right time. He came out so far wide, it would have had to get inside a couple of defenders and kind of beat him into the middle of the penalty area.
Cochran, they won't allow that to play out. It finishes 0-0, as in the end, this is the 5th draw in 6 meetings all time, and OKC still has the lone win. It's 1 point closer to playoff position for Cody Lorendi in Oklahoma City. For San Antonio, it's another result, although not a 3-point result. It's a good one on the road. It finishes 0-0 here, George.
Yeah, it's the right result for both of these teams. Neither team was super aggressive in attack. They wanted to make sure they kept their organization in shape defensively. And when that happens, you get a 0-0 ball game. Deserved result for both teams.
Tierpak and Lorendi, game respects game. Coming up on the other side of this break is the post-match report brought to you by UCO's Downtown NBA. Final score from Taft Stadium, Oklahoma City and San Antonio finish 0-0. Back in a moment.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
I don't think any city in America has come as far as fast as Oklahoma City. And the reason you see so many highly educated 20-somethings move into the city is that vibe, is that energy.
And we want to be a part of that. We believe our MBA program is just as vital, it's just as interesting, it's just as engaging as other parts of people's lives. We can provide students with this incredible opportunity to learn in the places where they're living, working, and playing.
Harris unveils the flip throw again and fires into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in! Unbelievable from OKC Energy!
Full time in Taft Stadium. Cody Lorendi on the field. A couple of slaps of the hand. Another shutout for the goalkeeper for OKC. Mike Watts, George Metellus back with you. Sixth meeting between these teams, and it's a fifth draw. 0-0 the final score. Here are your full-time match highlights from this affair, George. And this was an even game, probably a deserved 0-0 result in the end, although OKC did pick up the steam at the end.
Yeah, they sure did. They put on some heat at the end, but this was the best chance in the first half. Dixon able to get the through ball from Angulo. A couple of times we saw OKC able to get behind the defense, but they just couldn't finish the chances. That was an opportunity there for Angulo on the free kick. This is San Antonio's best chance of the match. Forbes should have put it away. We could have easily had a 1-1 game instead of a 0-0 game between these two. Reed, this chance here in the first half as well. He had plenty of space to operate in the top of the penalty area in the midfield, but he couldn't finish his chances. And really the only time OKC looked sloppy defending was that chance by Sean Chin. Sean Chin dropping back, did hard work defensively. And then in the second half, Reed again with the long-range effort. But every goalkeeper, if they can see the ball, they'll make the save. And Lorendi had plenty of time to see it. And then here's what we're talking about, Mike. Second half, you could see Oklahoma City getting behind the defense. When Craven came on, that really turned things around. Their attack picked up, and they missed opportunity. Look at this one here. If Wallace gets a cleaner touch, he would have scored. And then there's Kerlon with the seal dribble to Gonzalez. Highland making the run, and he just can't finish it. And then in the end, Craven. You wonder if Craven maybe should have gone far post with it, but he spotted Wojcik in the middle, wanted to connect with Wojcik, and then Gonzalez cleaning it up. But unfortunate for OKC, because in the second half, they started to find spaces and pick apart the San Antonio defense, but just too little too late. Full-time stats, and it bears out what we've talked about during the game. Both teams was waiting for the other to lead the dance. Look at 0-0 score, 50-50 possession. All the offsides were in the first half. There's only the one yellow card, but everything else almost the same. More shots for OKC, most of those coming in the latter part of the second half. And Restrepo making that huge save on Dixon in the first half, and he gets a clean sheet as well. So it was a conservative game plan by both teams. When you have a conservative game plan, you can't be surprised if it's 0-0 and both teams have the same amount of possession. But OKC did look the stronger side in attack in the last 15-20 minutes of that second half. The Energy FC post-game show is brought to you by UCO's Downtown MBA program. Connect to the future of business. Finish your MBA from Central in just 16 months. Visit mba.uco.edu for more details. The man of the match, Cody Lorendi. So Cody Lorendi, a fine performance tonight. The fans at Taft Stadium likely wanted 3 points. They'll leave with a result against one of the top 3 teams in the USL's Western Conference. And next, it's on the road to the brand new stadium in Orange County. How about breaking that in with a loss for Orange County? That would be great for OKC. Anytime you can get a victory on the road in this league, that's always a positive thing, obviously. And then to do it in the opposition's new building, oh, that's even sweeter. So we'll see what happens when they take that trip to Orange County.
And you'll see the game right here. So glad to have you with us for this one here tonight. It finishes 0-0 between Oklahoma City Energy and San Antonio FC. It's another shutout for that man, Fear the Beard. For San Antonio, they fall short of a win. but they continue what they've done all year. Another result away from home for Roberto Fernandez, Claudio Tellicher, Andy Martinez, and George DiMattelis. Mike Watts saying so long from Taft Stadium. Energy in San Antonio finish 0-0. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.